Now I'm just want to share some news update in RFI approval in both Hong Kong and US. So first of all, I would like to talk about in Hong Kong, we have a Hong Kong Tech scheme for the video equipment type approval. So when you think about the IoT and type approval, it's kind of the combination because you are using, most of the case, you are using the RF for the communication with the IoT device and the internet, right? So we need to consider the type approval, the regulation part of your IoT RF device. So in Hong Kong, the scheme is called Hong Kong TEC, Hong Kong Telecommunication Equipment Evaluation Certification Scheme. In this scheme, is for the evaluation and certification of telecommunication equipment and ISM equipment, which means it covers all these kind of radio equipment in Hong Kong to be used. Of course, in this scheme, we also will cover the customer premises equipment, which means it's a wireline equipment. But in this topic, I will not talk about the wireline equipment too many. So under the scheme, there are many TE and ISM equipment, right? So in this scheme, the certification consists of two parts. One is called the VCS, Voluntary Certification Scheme. Another one is called Compulsory Certification Scheme, CCS. Most of the IoT currently in the market are under the VCS scheme. So certification of TE and ISM equipment mainly will be done in LCB, local certification body accredited by Hong Kong communication authorities. Of course, some foreigner certification body in US or in Canada, they're also providing this kind of service. Okay, so you can see a list about the LCB and FCB. Of course, my company, Hong Kong Center and Training Center, is one of the LCB on the market to provide the local certification service for the video device or IoT device. So as I mentioned before, under Hong Kong TEC, we consider wireless device and wireline device. But for IoT, most of them are classified as wireless device. So I mainly under, which means the radio equipment specification are the main specification for IoT device to be used in Hong Kong. So just give you a quick shot about the classification of radio equipment. So under the CCS, I mean the Commercial Certification Scheme, there are many of the licensed device could be used. But for IoT, I mean in Hong Kong or in mainland, there are many of the IoT are not under this CCS. For IoT, as I mentioned by Kisai or other experts, you can see that IoTs currently in the market are mainly target for those non-licensed band. For example, GSM, 3G LTE, LTE, GSM, short-range device in this band. RFID, of course, is kind of IoT, right? That phone, Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz LAN, 6 GHz, and medical implant communication system. All of these highlighted in blue colors could be used for IoT communication. Here is a radio spectrum and the relevant specification for the radio approval for IoT application. For example, 2G, 3G, LTE, that radio equipment extended from licensing. For example, and Bluetooth, 5 GHz LAN, RFID, medical implant communication system. Currently, medical implant communication system is not quite popular in IoT, but in the future, I think this MICS can be a big party in the IoT. Okay, short-range device in 400 MHz. Of course, a latest one is called the 6 GHz band for video communication. For the application requirement under the Hong Kong TIC, you need to take care about the accredited test report, which means the report you provide to the certifying body need to be accredited. Okay, this is the main criteria of the application. Okay, as well, you need to provide some equipment description, some photos about your equipment, application letter, and business registration of the shareholder, etc. Okay, this is the label of the certified equipment. Under the Hong Kong TIC, the labeling scheme is on a voluntary basis, which means you can put the label onto the product or the packing if you want to. Okay, this is the label example. The certificate number consists of 3 parts. One is the certification body code, the year of issue certificate, and the serial number of the certificate. Okay, this label scheme is owned by the communication authority, not owned by the certification body. Okay, once the product is certified under either LCB or FCB, the equipment information will be listed in OFCA website under the list of certified equipment for the open public, just like FCC, okay. So this is a survey about number of certified application under the category of certified radio equipment exempt from licensing, which means most of the IoT equipment are in this category. You can see that over 40% are low power device exempt from licensing. 20% is cellular radio communication equipment, and another 50% about is 2.4 and 5 gigahertz licensing equipment. Okay. So for the non-RF part, I mean, for the IoT device, it consists of RF part and non-RF part. For the non-RF part, okay, the product itself needs to meet the Hong Kong Chapter 106B entitled of the Telecommunications Control Interference Regulations. So for most of the IoT devices are under the category of information technology equipment, which means the non-RF part of your IoT device need to meet 6x22 or EN0522 GB standard or FCC requirement. Okay, you can use either test report to show the compliance of Hong Kong EMC regulation. So, other than the Hong Kong TIC, I would like to talk about the radio equipment certification in US. The equipment classification in US are in 3 parts: verification, declaration of conformity, certification. Radio equipment or IoT device operating radio frequency are in this classification, which means the certification of IoT device is compulsory in US if the product is operating in radio frequency. Please be noted that there's no any MRA, mutual recognition agreement, in between US and China, which means there's no any accredited recognized lab in China except Hong Kong. So I will talk about this part in later on more detail about this MRA agreement between US and Hong Kong. I think this is quite a critical part for the manufacturer in Hong Kong and China. They need to take care about the test report recognitions problem. Okay, verification is kind of procedure when the manufacturer makes measurement itself, or they ask the lab to do the measurement on behalf of them to verify the product to meet the FCC requirement. It's mainly for the non-RF application. DOC is a special procedure. Under FCC regulation, there are some equipment are classified by DOC, which means under the equipment classification, if the product is classified by FCC DOC, the product need to be tested or tested by a accredited parties to do the equipment testing or evaluations. For the IoT radio frequency devices, certification is mandatory. Okay, it's a procedure. It's a procedure, or you can say an evaluation procedure organized by the TCB. Okay. So, under Part 15 radio frequency devices, that many of the devices can be done under certification. But today now, I just want to talk about the Subpart C, intentional radiators, which is the main equipment category of the IoT devices, which can be found in the market. The other type of Subpart D, E, F, G, H are still active for those non-IoT devices. Under Part 15, Part C, you can see that there are lots of bands could be used for the IoT application. For example, RFID, biomedical, field disturbance sensors, field hopping intentional radiators, low power intentional radiators, wideband system, or the automatic vehicle identification system. Okay, if the devices consist of multiple operating frequency band under Part 15 Part C, then you need to do multiple certification under the TCB. Okay, this is the main point I just highlight in the first of this FCC presentation. Okay, you can see that this is the link in the FCC website. You can see that there's a note in the FCC test firm search engine. The defined test firm type has recently changed to accredited from the listed. It means now it's defined as a accredited. What does it mean? It means currently there's no any accredited lab in China for do FCC for the perform the FCC DOC and certification. Okay, I can show you. Country, China. Search. There is no test firm. It means if your product is a radio frequency device, no matter it's an IoT or not, it needs to be done in a accredited lab. Okay, not a listed lab. If we want to get a quick check about the listed lab in China, you can see there are over 100 test labs in China are classified as listed, but no one of them are accredited due to the MRA between the Hong Kong, between the US and China. There's no any MRA existing for China and US, but we do have MRA between Hong Kong and US. That's why the lab in Hong Kong can do the FCC DOC and certification, but not for the China lab. Okay, just go back to our PowerPoint. Okay. So, please. Oh. Okay. The lab called listed test lab will be shown on the FCC website until this year, July. Okay, once after this date, there's no more listed test lab on the FCC website. Okay, which means start from now to July, you still can find some listed test lab for the test and certification for your product. But after this day, all the listed test lab will be disappear. Only accredited lab will be listed on the FCC website. You can see that the test completed by the listed test lab prior to this date will be accepted in application for certification. If they updated to FCC, the website, before October this year. Okay, so at this moment, you still have the freedom to choose the listed test lab. Okay, but after that, there's no more listed lab. So all testing performed on and after July on application for certification, as well as DOC, will be required to be based on the test performed by FCC recognized accredited lab. Okay, recognized accredited lab. This is the main point, recognized accredited lab. So this gives you a short survey about number of certified radio equipment under Part 15 from Subpart C to H in 2016. There, you can see there are lots of applications, right? But you can see that over 18% of the product are classified as Subpart C intentional radiators, and Subpart E and U and II, just a Wi-Fi application in this band. So I think currently most of the IoT devices are Subpart C or Subpart E under FCC equipment classification. Okay, under Part 15 Subpart C in last year, you can see that almost half of the applications are DTS, which means it's a data transmission system. And then DSS, Part 15 spectrum transmitter, just like Bluetooth. Okay, just give a short preview about the number of certified equipment under FCC database. And you can know about your product maybe in somewhere here or here. So for the application requirement for certification Part 15, there are lots of requirements, of course. Main point is the accredited test report. As mentioned before, the test report need to be accredited, which means the test report need to be granted by an accredited test lab, not a listed test lab. It will consider the long-term production of your product, right? So under FCC, because some of the information are considered as confidential, so under their procedure, they allow the manufacturer or the application or the applicant to do some called long-term confidentiality or short-term confidentiality. It's up to your decision from the applicant. So during the application, you need to tell the test lab or the TCB which kind of confidentiality you want to apply. So, and then let them help you to do the confidential process, because IP is the main concern in the new technology, right? So please make sure to tell the lab or TCB to do the confidentiality of your application. You cannot request to change from long-term to short-term or short-term to long-term after the equipment is granted. Okay, in the beginning, you need to ask the TCB or test lab to offer you this kind of service. So for the labeling for the certification, I mean the radio frequency devices, we need to put the FCC ID, just say the combination in this figure. Okay. So just a little bit promotion about our lab service. We are accredited for full scope for FCC DOC. If your product is classified a FCC DOC for those non-RF application, we can do it for you. If your product is classified as a radio equipment, no matter it's a Subpart B, C, E, F, or H, we can also do the certification process on behalf of you. We do the testing report. We give you the accredited test report. and then send to the TCB for the certification. They give you the certificate. That's simple, one-stop service. Okay? So we call one-stop service in our approval. We can do Australia, Canada, EU, Hong Kong, Japan, and US. Today, I'm just talking about the Hong Kong and US. I think coming, there are another expert from TUB, they were talking about the EU. Thank you for your attention.